Prince Edward's relationship with Queen Elizabeth was much different from the rest of the royal siblings. Their unique bond started the day he was born and lasted all the way up to her death at 96. Prince Edward has kept things low-key and stayed out of the crazy media and public excitement. But insiders say Queen Elizabeth seemingly integrated Edward into her role rather than leaving him with nannies. That made her much more involved with his life. As Queen Elizabeth got closer to the end of her life, that public view changed for sure. As she got older, she started to give Edward and his wife, Sophie, Countess of Wessex, more royal duties. This got worse after Prince Harry and Meghan Markle stepped down as senior royals, and after Prince Andrew's many scandals made it harder for him to serve the throne. But what made their bond so special? Let's find out in today's video. The unique birth of Edward. Prince Edward, Duke of Edinburgh, was born in London, England on March 10, 1964. He is the youngest child of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. Not only did he add to the Windsor family tree, but his birth also marked a big step forward for the throne. Edward was 16 years younger than his older brother, Prince Charles. He was seen as the leader of a new generation in the royal family, carrying on practices for future generations. A few months later, he was christened, and the name Edward Anthony Richard Louis was given to him. This made him a real person and solidified his place in the royal family. But that wasn't the only thing that made his birth unique. There was something else as well. So, what made it different from when his brothers came? If you knew anything about the Queen, it was that she was very strict about following royal rules. But when Edward was born, she broke one of the most important rules, which surprised everyone. When she gave birth, she asked her husband, Prince Philip, to be there for the first time in royal history. This choice was revolutionary, and it marked the start of a new era for the government. The fact that Philip was there showed that the Queen was willing to change her mind about family and children. She was 37 years old and already had 3 children. At the time, women's magazines were talking more and more about how dads should be more involved in childbirth. From Ingrid Seward's book, My Husband and I, The Inside Story of 70 Years of Royal Marriage, we can learn more about why the Queen made the bold choice to have Prince Philip with her when Edward was born. She wanted fathers to be more involved in childbirth, which showed that she wanted to bring modernization to parts of royal life while still honoring its long-standing customs. The birth of Prince Edward wasn't just a family event. It was also a cultural shift that changed how people thought about parenting and family life in the 20th century. Years of growth and early interests, Edward's upbringing was a mix of old and new, and he was able to balance his royal responsibilities with his own goals and interests. His life was not like most kids. Most kids enjoy going to see Santa Claus or playing with their neighborhood friends. But Edward's early years were full of special opportunities and experiences that few people could have imagined. He even met his hero, Neil Armstrong, when he was 5 years old. Armstrong was the famous astronaut who was the first person to walk on the moon. The palace set up this one-of-a-kind meeting so that young Edward could talk to Armstrong about his own hopes of going to space. Armstrong had been a big inspiration to him. Meeting his hero changed him forever. It sparked his imagination and made him want to follow in Armstrong's pioneering path one day. From a very young age, Prince Edward had a lot of amazing things happen to him. When he was only 3 months old, he made his public debut on the balcony of Buckingham Palace with his family. This is a custom that goes back hundreds of years and is very important to the royal family. Edward grew up in a royal family and learned to ride his pet pony, Valkyrie, when he was 2 years old. His parents were very proud of him. Being around horses from a young age not only made him love animals, but it also set the stage for his future horse-related interests. You may also be interested in how close Prince Edward is to his father, Prince Philip. Let's check it out. How Edward and his father got along. Prince Edward and his father had a close and loving relationship. They respected and admired each other and had many special times together. In a tribute to Prince Philip, Edward talked about how much his father changed him and praised Philip's amazing ability to leave an indelible mark on everyone he met. On the royal family's Instagram, Edward paid tribute to Philip's life by praising the things they had in common that made their relationship unique. When he thought about the time they spent together, he was thankful for the memories and lessons that would stay with him forever. In an interview with ITV News, Edward talked about how much he loved his father's smart mind and contagious sense of humor. Philip had these qualities which made everyone like him. Edward also talked highly of his parents' deep love and partnership, pointing out that their relationship had been an example and a guide for him throughout his life. Even though Prince Edward was sad about losing his father, he found peace in remembering how Prince Philip always helped him, taught him, and loved him. Edward saw his father as more than just a royal partner. He saw him as a loving husband and father, traits that he hopes will be remembered for years to come. The big age difference between King Charles and Prince Edward is an interesting fact that is often missed. It shows how the family changed as Queen Elizabeth's rule went on. Learning. There's a lot more to learn about Edward's life if you've only seen bits and pieces of it on Netflix or in news stories. Prince Edward started his schooling right at Buckingham Palace. He had a private teacher and studied in a setting that was perfect for his upbringing. He got off to a good start with this early schooling that was tailored to his royal duties. Later, he went to the prestigious Gibbs School in Kensington, where he learned about subjects designed just for young royals. This is where Edward built the foundations for his studies. Following this, he went to Heatherdown Preparatory School, which was in the peaceful countryside. There he found the ideal balance between studies and personal growth. At Heatherdown, Edward made friends that will last a lifetime, grew intellectually, and found his love for things outside of school. These events were very important to his development. They combined the benefits of his royal life with the chances he had to learn a lot. Princess Anne's teenage years really took shape at Gordonstoun School, which is in the middle of Scotland's wild scenery. Gordonstoun was a special place for Edward to grow up because it focused on character building and learning outside. He got a well-rounded education at school that helped him improve his skills and develop a strong sense of control and leadership through tough classes, a focus on fitness and outdoor activities. Edward did very well in school and was very involved in sports and extracurricular activities. He finally became head boy, a position that showed how strong and responsible he was. Want to know if he kept up with his hobbies and other interests? Let's find out. After getting his A-levels, Edward went on an amazing trip to New Zealand where he stayed for 6 months at the collegiate school in Wanganui. This trip was a big deal because it gave him a chance to see things from a different point of view, learn useful skills for everyday life, and become fully immersed in a different society. Edward was a royal, but he was very involved in the local scene. He even worked as a teacher and drama class supervisor. When he got back to the UK, he worked hard and got into Jesus College, Cambridge. There, despite the pressures of royal expectations, he continued to show how strong and curious he was. Edward graduated from college in 1986 with a degree that showed how hard he worked at school and on his own personal growth. It also showed how smart he was and how much he wanted to learn more. Prince Edward chose not to follow the usual royal road or try to get a well-known job. Instead, he chose to go his own way. He chose to join the Royal Marines as a university cadet, which was not what he had planned. He loved the arts and wanted to explore his artistic side. He didn't stay in the service for long, though. The demands were high, and he quickly learned that he was more interested in something else. After some time to think, he decided to focus on a new area, the entertainment business. Given the royal rules his family followed, this turn of events came as a surprise. He was interested in theater and the thrill of live performance, while his older brothers picked more traditional roles. Who would have thought he'd pick the arts? What he did might not have been as loud as what his brothers did, but it made him stand out. Edward and how much he loves theater. Edward quit the Royal Marines, which was a brave and unexpected move. This choice probably caused some trouble in the royal family, especially between him and his father, Prince Philip. But Edward was set on doing what he loved, and he jumped right into his new hobby. He got to work with the famous musician and theater boss Andrew Lloyd Webber because of this new path. In Webber's company, Edward worked as a stage assistant and learned a lot about musical theater this way. Beginning with the very basics of the business, he showed humility and commitment by getting involved in every step of the process. People around him respected him because he was driven and eager to learn. This showed that he was more than just a royal. He was truly committed to the craft. When Prince Edward and Andrew Lloyd Webber worked together on projects like those for Queen Elizabeth's birthday parties, it was a turning point in Edward's life. He was becoming more creative and wanting to break away from royal custom. His artistic goals were driven by this partnership, which also encouraged him to make his own way. Many people may not know that Edward owned a TV production company, which may surprise people who don't know about his work outside of the royal family. After his time with the Useful Group, Edward joined the theater division in search of new art-related chances. Unfortunately, his time there was cut short when the company went bankrupt due to too much debt, which was a stark reminder of how unstable the entertainment business can be. His love for making things and broadcasting. Even though he had some setbacks, Edward took another chance that would have a big impact on his future. In 1987, he started making a reality game show with members of the royal family and famous people from around the world. Even though the project was controversial and met with criticism, Edward called it the most extraordinary day of his life, which suggests that he is becoming more interested in making TV shows. Because Edward loved sharing stories and wanted to learn more about his family's history, he started Ardent Productions, an independent company whose sole purpose is to make interesting TV shows. By using the name Edward Windsor in the business world, he purposely separated himself from his royal identity to build respect in the field. His choice showed that he was determined to make a name for himself outside of his royal background, which opened the door to a unique and creative job. Through Ardent Productions, Prince Edward started a number of ambitious projects. The most famous of these was Edward on Edward, a documentary about his uncle Edward VIII's controversial life and abdication. While Edward's goal was good, he wanted to bring new information about his family's history. Ardent Productions had trouble in a very competitive television market. The company had a hard time getting off the ground because of doubts in the industry and limited success. After 9 years, it shut down, which was a sad end to Edward's journey into media creation. Back to duties of the king. In 2002, Prince Edward made the hard choice to leave the entertainment business so he could focus on his duties as a royal. Because he felt a stronger sense of duty, he told The Independent that his choice was influenced by the growing demands on the royal family and his desire to back Queen Elizabeth. Sophie, Countess of Wessex, his wife, also quit her job as executive director at RJH Public Relations to show how much they cared about their royal responsibilities. To make this transfer easier, Queen Elizabeth is said to have given them a one-time payment of $250,000 to make up for their losses and show her appreciation for their service to the monarchy. Ardent Productions' money problems also played a role in Prince Edward's decision to leave the entertainment business. Both The Guardian and The Telegraph reported that the company was losing a lot of money, which may have been a factor in his decision to focus on royal responsibilities and charitable work instead. This change was a turning point. Edward chose to serve the public, keeping true to the traditions and values of his family. Prince Edward is an involved member of the royal family who works on projects that try to make a real difference in the world. The Duke of Edinburgh's award, which helps young people learn important life skills, is one of his most well-known jobs. He is also in charge of the Earl and Countess of Wessex's Trust, a fund that helps groups that work with young people. Prince Edward is still involved in many charities, arts programs, and sports activities outside of his official royal duties. He uses his position to support causes he cares about and to help make good changes in communities around the world. The love story of Edward and Sophie. Prince Edward's long-lasting relationship with Sophie Rhys-Jones is the most important thing in his life. They meet by chance, share hobbies, and deeply respect each other. Their first meeting, which happened at a tennis event put together by Prince Edward, felt like something from a modern fairy tale. Over the course of 6 beautiful years, they shared travels and private moments, which made their relationship stronger over time. Prince Edward and Sophie worked on their relationship when they weren't in the public eye. They built a strong base on trust, understanding, and loyal support. When they announced they were getting married in January 1999, everyone was happy and excited. In a statement full of royal tradition and deep feeling, Buckingham Palace announced that Prince Edward and Miss Sophie Rhys-Jones will soon be married. It was the start of a new part of their lives that was full of love and faith. When it was time for Prince Edward to propose, he didn't waste any time choosing a gift to show how much he loved her. A beautiful diamond ring made by the famous designers Gerard & Co. The ring had a beautiful 2-carat oval diamond in the middle and 2 beautiful heart-shaped stones on either side. It perfectly captured the classic beauty and romance of their love story. This ring not only showed their love, but it also became a lifelong reminder of how strong their relationship was. Prince Edward and Sophie Rhys-Jones got married on June 19, 1999, just 6 months after they announced they were getting married. Their wedding ceremony was a beautiful mix of custom and personal touches. It was a happy event that brought the royal family together after some recent problems. The beautiful St. George's Chapel, which is on the historic grounds of Windsor Castle, was the right place for their royal tradition-filled wedding. The couple, Prince Edward and Sophie, wanted the wedding to be small and private. But it got so much attention that about 200 million people tuned in to see two hearts join together, Sophie and the Most High. With her marriage, Sophie became a member of the royal family and became close friends with Queen Elizabeth II. On her wedding day, the Queen gave her new daughter-in-law a beautiful tiara from her own jewelry collection, which was a fitting gift for a princess. The tiara was made by David Thomas, a respected former crown jeweler. It sparkled with valuable stones and was a perfect mix of old-fashioned elegance and modern style. Sophie gave Prince Edward an 18-karat gold pocket watch as a special gift that showed her love and commitment for him. When people talk about relationships within the royal family, they tend to keep quiet because they are so complicated. Sophie, on the other hand, is often seen as the Queen's favorite. The fact that she is close friends with and advisor to the Queen of England shows how close they really are and how much they care about each other. According to a story in the Daily Mail, a royal aide said that Sophie has a special place of trust in the Queen's inner circle, which makes her closer to the Queen than other royals. The Daily Mail says that Sophie is very close to Her Majesty and is like a second daughter to her. They have a special connection based on respect, understanding, and friendship. So close are they to each other that Sophie is often called the Second Lady of the Land, a title that shows how important their relationship is. With the arrival of well-known people like Camilla Parker Bowles and Kate Middleton over the years, the royal hierarchy has changed a lot. In spite of this, Sophie, the Countess of Wessex, is still very important to Queen Elizabeth. It's possible that her rank has changed, but that hasn't changed how close they are. In fact, the Daily Mail says that their friendship may have gotten even stronger over time. According to palace sources that the article cites, the Queen's relationships with Sophie are similar to those she had with her late sister Princess Margaret. They are warm, familiar, and based on shared experiences. For this reason, Sophie has become not only the Queen's trusted confidant but also her beloved partner and ally, always there for her in public and in private. The title choice of Prince Edward. The royal family has mostly kept Prince Edward's title a secret, which adds to the mystery. People who follow the royal family were interested and talked about the unusual title he chose for his wife, Sophie Rhys-Jones. The title of Duke is usually given to the man of a royal wedding, but Prince Edward was given the title of Earl of Wessex instead. This out-of-the-ordinary choice has made people wonder what it means and why it's different from what people usually do. The world of British royal titles may seem complicated, but there is a clear hierarchy that shows the past and lineage of the royal family. When addressing a son of the current king, they are usually called His Royal Highness, followed by their first name. After they get married, they usually get another title, usually ending in Duke. However, Prince Edward's appointment as Earl of Wessex is a big change from this standard. This has left some people confused and interested in why he made this choice. But this title wasn't a step down. It had a lot of personal value for Prince Edward and showed off his unique tastes and interests. Like the character of the Earl of Wessex in his favorite movie, Shakespeare in Love, he was charming and drew people in. So, when it was time to choose his title, Prince Edward picked the Earl of Wessex because it truly reflects who he is and what he loves. Some people may have thought about what this unusual choice meant, but in the end it was more about a personal link than just breaking with tradition. Prince Edward's choice seemed to be based on his own tastes, not on any hurt feelings he had about the Queen or the rest of the royal family. The term Earl of Wessex has come to represent his uniqueness and his desire to make his own way in the royal family. As time went on, this title drew more and more notice and rumors, especially about possible changes in the royal scene. When Prince Philip died, the title of Duke of Edinburgh went to Prince Charles. This caused some people to wonder what would happen to the title and if Prince Edward would get it when Charles became king. It's interesting that Prince Edward is often seen as the favorite child by his parents, even though he is not the straight heir. It can be touchy for parents to talk about loyalty, especially in a royal family. Even if parents say they don't have favorites, close family members can often tell you a lot about how things work in the family. There have been rumors that Prince Edward's father, Prince Philip, is biased toward him. These rumors give us interesting looks into how the royal family works. Reports say that Prince Philip had a soft spot in his heart for Prince Edward. This is shown by the fact that Prince Philip's picture of Prince Edward is displayed prominently in his study. This apparently small but very important act shows how close and loving Prince Philip was with his youngest son, hints at a relationship that goes beyond normal family ties. Prince Philip seems to want both Prince Edward and his wife Sophie to play bigger parts in the royal family, which supports the idea that Prince Edward is favored. By supporting them, they show how close they are to each other, and how much Prince Philip trusted his son and daughter-in-law to make important contributions to the throne. According to reports, as Prince Philip cut back on public appearances, he gave his royal duties to Prince Edward and Sophie. This showed that he believed their abilities and ability to make decisions. The public loves the couple because of how well they behave, how dedicated they are, and how much they care about their royal jobs. There's lots more to love and respect about them. With traits like being humble, dependable, and calm in tough situations, they have built an image that sets them apart from some of their more flashy peers. People who follow royal families all over the world admire and respect them for these qualities. A person with knowledge of the royal family said that Prince Edward's modesty and Sophie's charming simplicity have struck a chord with the public. They have been praised for their honesty and dedication to duty. In a time when royal scandals are common, their unwavering commitment to their jobs in the royal family has won them friends among other royals and in the public eye. There is a lot of love for Prince Edward from both his family and the public. However, it is important to remember that this love has made him feel even worse since Queen Elizabeth died. He said that the loss was shocking and that it was hard for him to deal with. In the days following the tragedy, he was honest with the media about how deeply sad and shocked he was that his father had died so suddenly. Just 2 days after Prince Philip's death, Prince Edward spoke of his family's grief and stressed that they were still trying to come to terms with how terrible their loss was. This was a feeling that many people around the world shared. Prepare for a shocking turn in Prince Edward's life, his marriage story, which not many people know about. Prince Edward and Sophie's fight with infertility has been a big part of their journey. Because it was hard for them to get pregnant normally, the couple made the hard choice to look into in vitro fertilization as a way to start a family. In late 2001, their dreams were dashed when Sophie got pregnant. But it turned out to be an ectopic pregnancy, which was devastated. This experience not only put their resolve to the test, but it also made their bond stronger as they went through the tough parts of their trip together. Even though they had some sad events in the past, Prince Edward and Sophie were incredibly strong. They got their strength from their love for each other and their unwavering determination to have children. Their hard work paid off in 2003 when Sophie got pregnant again. Their first child, Lady Louise Windsor, was born at the happy time. But problems during Sophie's pregnancy, which led to an early birth, dampened their joy at having a new family member. A placental abruption marked this difficult time. This is a dangerous condition that put Sophie and her baby at great risk. Sophie's bravery and strength were put to the test during this very important time, and Prince Edward stood by her side the whole time. Both the mother and the child came out on top, doing better than expected and getting stronger as a team. The hard times they went through at the beginning of their journey not only pushed them to their limits, but they also strengthened their bond and made them deeply appreciate how miraculous life is. But their journey wasn't over yet. In the years to come, Lady Louise would have her own health problems. She had an eye problem from birth that sent her to the hospital just 3 years after she was born. This caused her parents a lot of worry and confusion. The news made them feel very bad, and every time they went to the hospital, they were nervous because they didn't understand what was wrong. As they tried to figure out what her future held, each visit was a mix of hope and worry. But in the end, this hard time brought them closer together as a family. They got together and showered Lady Louise with love and support, which made them stronger. The problems they had to solve together showed how united they were and taught them how important it is to be kind and understanding when things are tough. This shared journey through hardship not only strengthened their family ties, but also showed how much they cared for each other. In 2007, Prince Edward and Sophie were thrilled to welcome their son James into the world. He made their lives happier and gave them a much-needed break from their problems. James brought new life into the family, making everyone laugh and show love for each other. When he was born, he was given the title of Viscount Severn, which put him in a strong and resilient noble bloodline. James's sister looked up to him as he grew up because he showed the kind of determination that their family had learned to value. Lady Louise and James's friendship helped them get through hard times in life, with the help of their loving parents. Their family's journey, which was full of ups and downs, kept going. Each part added to their story of love, courage, and strength. When you think about Prince Edward's life, it's clear that he has grown as a person as he has dealt with the stresses of royal tasks and the difficulties of family life. His ability to keep his family close despite the attention that comes with being a king says a lot about his character. The things Edward has done as a title holder and as a parent show that he wants to make his own way in the royal family, while still being loyal to the people he cares about. The family's deep experiences and strength in the face of hardship make their story powerfully relevant and inspiring. It's interesting to see how people see how their jobs have changed over time in the royal family and how they stay true to themselves in public. If you have any thoughts or information about the trip of Prince Edward and his family, please share them below. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like the movie to see more interesting royal stories. Watch out for more.